Welcome to our The Sleepy Scientist channel. It's wonderful to have you here tonight. Forests are among the most extraordinary places on Earth. They are not just stretches of trees, but living systems that breathe, grow, and shape the very air we depend on. Some forests are so vast, they make their own weather. Some trees have been alive since before the pyramids were built. And beneath the soil, secret fungal networks allow trees to whisper to one another across the dark. In the Amazon, more species live together than anywhere else on the planet. In the frozen taiga, trees stretch across continents, storing more carbon than all the world's oil reserves. And in the misty heights of cloud forests, water drips straight from the sky into the leaves. Forests are ancient, powerful, and endlessly surprising. And tonight, we'll wander through 100 fascinating truths about them. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, consider liking and subscribing or share some thoughts in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, you don't need to do anything at all. Just let your shoulders soften, let your breathing fall into its own rhythm. Imagine the hush of a forest at dusk, where the light fades and the canopy closes gently above. Now, if you're ready, let's begin. The world's largest living organism is a forest fungus. Hidden beneath the soil of Oregon's Blue Mountains lies something almost impossible to imagine. It looks like an ordinary forest floor at first glance, scattered with trees and fallen leaves. But beneath it all stretches the threads of a single fungus, weaving through the earth like a living web. This organism, Armillaria ostoya, covers an area of nearly 4 square miles and is believed to be thousands of years old. Though its mushrooms sprout briefly above ground, the real body of the fungus is an underground lattice of microscopic filaments called mycelium. Scientists consider it the largest living organism on Earth, far bigger than any whale, tree, or coral reef. What makes it astonishing is not only its size, but its quiet persistence. Year after year, it slowly spreads beneath the forest, connecting trees, feeding on roots, and reminding us that life is often hidden, yet immense. The Amazon alone holds 10% of all known species. The Amazon rainforest is often called the crown jewel of Earth's ecosystems, and for good reason. Within its immense green expanse, stretching across 9 countries, lives an extraordinary fraction of all life known to science. 1 in every 10 species on Earth makes its home in the Amazon. That means millions of plants, animals, insects, and fungi share the space beneath its towering canopy. Jaguars stalk the forest floor, while pink river dolphins swim through winding channels. Entire tribes of ants cultivate underground gardens of fungus, while orchids cling to branches high above. Scientists estimate that there are still thousands, perhaps millions of undiscovered species hidden in its depths. Amazon is not just diverse, it is dense with life layered from its dark soil to its sunlit canopy. To walk in it is to step into a living encyclopedia of the planet, unfolding leaf by leaf, call by call. The boreal forest stores twice as much carbon as all the world's oil reserves. The boreal forest, stretching like a green crown across Canada, Russia, and Scandinavia, may not be as famous as the Amazon, but it holds a power that shapes the whole planet. Beneath its vast carpet of spruce, pine, and larch lies an immense storehouse of carbon. Much of it is locked in its soils and wetlands, preserved in cold, slow-decaying layers of moss and peat. Scientists estimate that the boreal forest contains nearly twice as much carbon as all the known oil reserves of the world combined. This means the boreal acts as a giant brake on climate change, quietly absorbing and storing carbon for centuries. But warming temperatures are beginning to thaw permafrost, risking the release of this buried carbon back into the atmosphere. In a sense, the boreal forest is like a vault. And the future of Earth's climate depends on keeping that vault sealed tight. The Amazon rainforest produces its own rain. When people think of rainforests, they picture storms rolling in from faraway oceans. But the Amazon is different. It doesn't just receive rain, it makes its own. Each day, countless trees lift water from the soil and release it into the air through tiny pores in their leaves. This invisible mist rises skyward, forming thick clouds that drift and break into rain. Scientists call this process evapotranspiration. And in the Amazon, it creates an atmospheric river that cycles water again and again over the forest. In fact, a single large tree can release hundreds of gallons of water in a day. Without this cycle, the forest would wither. But with it, the Amazon sustains its own weather, creating thunderstorms, feeding rivers, and even sending moisture as far away as the US Midwest. It is a self-sustaining engine of life, a forest that drinks and rains in the same breath. Some trees communicate through underground fungi. Beneath the soil of nearly every forest lies a hidden communication system, threads of fungi linking tree roots in a vast interconnected web. Scientists call it the wood wide web because it allows trees to share signals and even resources. Through these fungal networks, a shaded sapling might receive nutrients from a larger, healthier neighbor. A tree under attack from insects might send out chemical warnings, prompting others nearby to boost their defenses. Some species appear to act like mother trees, channeling energy into younger seedlings through this hidden network. It's not communication in the human sense, but it is cooperation carried out molecule by molecule beneath the ground. What looks like a silent forest is actually buzzing with exchanges, not through sound or sight, but through sugars, chemicals, and fungal threads. The forest, it turns out, is far more alive and more connected than it seems. The oldest known trees began growing before the pyramids were built. In the mountains of California and Nevada, high above the desert floor, grow trees so ancient that their lifespans stretch back into prehistory. These bristlecone pines, twisted and weathered by centuries of wind and snow, are the oldest living individual organisms on Earth. Some are nearly 5,000 years old. That means they were already old when the first pyramids were rising in Egypt. They have stood through the rise and fall of civilizations, surviving droughts, fires, and freezing winters. Their secret is not speed, but slowness. They grow so gradually that even after thousands of years, many stand no taller than a suburban house. Their wood is dense, resin-rich, and resistant to decay. When you look at a bristlecone, you are looking at a living being that has endured across nearly all of recorded human history. A reminder that time moves differently for trees. The Amazon may be approaching a point of collapse. For all its vastness, the Amazon is fragile. Scientists warn that it may be nearing a dangerous tipping point. As deforestation spreads and climate change dries the air, the rainforest could begin to shift into a savanna-like ecosystem. This would mean fewer trees, less rainfall, and an irreversible unraveling of the forest's cycles. Already, parts of the Amazon now emit more carbon than they absorb, a stark reversal of its ancient role as a carbon sink. If the forest tips past this threshold, billions of tons of stored carbon could flood into the atmosphere, accelerating global warming. At the same time, countless species would lose their home. The Amazon's collapse would not only reshape South America, but also ripple through the entire planet's climate system. It is a reminder that even the mightiest ecosystems depend on delicate balances that can be pushed too far. The Congo rainforest holds more carbon than the entire United States emits in a decade. Second in size only to the Amazon, the Congo rainforest is often overlooked. But its role in stabilizing the planet is immense. Beneath its green canopy lies one of the greatest carbon vaults on Earth. The forest itself, along with its vast peatlands, stores more than 80 billion tons of carbon. To put that in perspective, it is more than the entire United States emits in a decade of burning fossil fuels. Much of this carbon is buried in soggy peat soils, where oxygen cannot break it down quickly. That rising temperatures and human disturbance threaten to unlock this storehouse. Scientists warn that if these peatlands dry, the release of carbon would be catastrophic. For now, though, the Congo stands as one of Earth's most powerful protectors, a green fortress quietly holding back the tide of climate change. The tallest trees on Earth reach higher than a football field. If you stand at the base of a coastal redwood in California and crane your neck upward, the tree just keeps going. These giants, some over 370 ft tall, are the tallest living organisms on Earth. To picture their size, imagine a football field standing on end. The tree rises even higher, their crowns sway in winds no human can feel from the ground, and entire ecosystems live in their upper branches, including ferns, mosses, and even small salamanders. The redwoods grow in fog-shrouded groves along the Pacific coast, where they drink moisture from the air itself. Despite their size, they are fragile, surviving in only a narrow band of climate, yet they remind us of nature's ability to reach for the sky, stretching toward the clouds in a feat of endurance and quiet ambition unmatched anywhere else on Earth. Redwoods can live for more than 2,000 years. The redwoods are not only the tallest trees on Earth, but also among the longest lived. Some individuals have stood for more than 2,000 years, silently watching centuries of human history unfold. Their bark, thick and fibrous, can resist both insects and fire, allowing them to endure where other trees would fall. When fires do come, the flames often clear away competition while leaving the redwoods intact. Their roots, surprisingly shallow, interlace with those of neighboring trees, binding the forest together into a shared network of support. In this way, a grove of redwoods becomes more than a collection of individuals. It is a single ancient community. Walking among them feels like stepping into a living cathedral where pillars rise into mist and time stretches beyond comprehension. They stand as reminders that endurance itself can be a kind of strength etched in rings and centuries. Cloud forests drink directly from the sky. High in the mountains where mist rolls thick over the treetops live forests unlike any others. Cloud forests are shrouded in near-constant fog, and the trees there have adapted to capture water straight from the air. Their leaves and mossy branches comb moisture from drifting clouds, turning mist into droplets that drip steadily down to the forest floor. In this way, they drink from the sky even when no rain falls. This unique ability allows cloud forests to thrive in regions where rainfall alone would not be enough to sustain them. The water they capture often feeds rivers and streams that flow into valleys below, supporting both ecosystems and human communities. To walk through a cloud forest is to be inside a living cloud, where every surface glistens and drips, and where the air itself is part of the forest's hidden heartbeat. Some forests glow at night with bioluminescent life. Step into certain forests after dark, and you may notice an otherworldly glow. Tiny mushrooms, scattered like lanterns on rotting logs, emit a soft green light. This phenomenon, called bioluminescence, is created by chemical reactions inside the fungi. The glow is thought to attract insects that spread their spores, helping the fungi reproduce. In tropical forests, entire patches of the undergrowth may shimmer faintly, turning the forest floor into a starlit scene. Even fireflies add to the effect, flashing among the branches like sparks. For centuries, people have described these glowing forests as enchanted. Today, scientists study the exact chemistry behind the light, hoping to understand why some species evolved this trait, while most did not. To the human eye, it feels like magic, a hidden electricity that flickers alive in the dark, reminding us that even when the sun sets, forests have ways of shining on their own. Some forests burn regularly as part of their natural cycle. Though it may seem destructive, fire is a natural and necessary part of many forests. In places like North America's pine forests or Australia's eucalyptus groves, fires sweep through every few years. These flames clear away underbrush, recycle nutrients into the soil, and even trigger certain trees to release seeds. Without fire, these ecosystems would actually suffer. Pines, for example, have cones sealed with resin that only open in the intense heat of flames. After a fire, the ash-rich soil creates the perfect conditions for new growth. Animals, too, have adapted. Some birds follow the smoke to hunt insects, fleeing the fire. Of course, when humans disrupt this cycle with logging or suppression, fires can grow unnaturally large and dangerous. But in their natural rhythm, forest fires are less an ending than a reset. A way for the ecosystem to breathe, renew, and begin again. Fires can trigger seeds to sprout in forests. In the aftermath of fire, blackened soil may look lifeless, yet hidden beneath the ash lies a secret. Seeds that have waited, sometimes for years, for the spark of fire to unlock them. Certain plants like the lodgepole pine or Australia's banksia have tough seed coatings that only break open under intense heat. Others respond to smoke chemicals in the air, which act like a signal that conditions are finally right to grow. The result is that just weeks after a blaze, a forest floor can burst into green, carpeted with seedlings that could not have sprouted otherwise. Fire, then, is not only a force of destruction, but also a catalyst for renewal. It clears space, lets sunlight reach the ground, and awakens a new generation of growth. The forest's cycle of life and death turns out to be written quite literally in flames. Certain trees can survive being struck by lightning. When lightning rips through a forest, the crack and flare can be terrifying. Trees often bear the brunt of these strikes, and many split or burn. Yet, some survive. Their survival depends on their bark, moisture and structure. A tree with thick insulating bark can channel electricity down its outer layers, sparing the living tissue inside. Moisture within the trunk can also act as a conductor, letting the current pass through quickly without destroying the core. Remarkably, some trees even heal around their scars. The charred grooves left by lightning become permanent streaks in the bark. Over years, these scars can spiral upward like black ribbons, silent records of the storm. For the forest, trees that endure such strikes are testaments to resilience, standing tall even after nature's most powerful bolts have tried to bring them down. In the taiga, trees can explode in extreme cold. The taiga, Earth's largest forest, sweeps across Siberia, Canada, and Scandinavia. Winters there plunge to brutal lows, sometimes below 60° F. In such extremes, even trees can suffer in ways hard to imagine. Their sap, filled with water, can freeze so rapidly that it expands faster than the tree can withstand. The result is a sudden rupture, a sound like a crack of gunfire as the trunk splits open. In rare cases, parts of the tree may even burst outward, earning the description that trees explode in the cold. While most trees have adaptations to endure freezing, such as anti-freeze-like chemicals in their tissues, these safeguards are not always enough. The exploding trees of the taiga are reminders of just how harsh this biome is, where survival pushes every living thing to its limits in the battle against cold. Some forest fires burn underground for years. Not all fires vanish when the flames die down. In certain forests, particularly in peat-rich soils, fires can smolder underground long after the surface looks calm. These zombie fires can persist for months or even years, creeping slowly through layers of carbon-rich peat. They may reignite above ground long after a wildfire season is thought to be over. Some scientists believe such fires even survive the winter, buried under snow, only to re-emerge in spring. These hidden blazes release enormous amounts of carbon into the air and are notoriously difficult to extinguish, since water rarely penetrates deeply enough to douse them. The smell of smoke can hang in the air for miles, puzzling residents who see no visible flames. They are fires that never quite die, smoldering reminders of how forests can hold on to both life and destruction far longer than we realize. Forests can generate their own lightning. Forests do not just endure lightning, they can help create it. As water vapor rises from leaves into the air, it feeds storm clouds above. Within those clouds, particles of ice and water collide, building electrical charges. Dense, humid forests, like the Amazon, are particularly good at fueling such storms, releasing vast amounts of moisture into the atmosphere each day. The result is frequent lightning strikes, often thousands per night across the basin. Some studies suggest that aerosols released by trees may even influence how these storm clouds form and behave. In this way, forests are not just passive victims of lightning, but active players in creating the conditions that spark it. Each flash across the sky, each thunderclap can in part be traced back to the slow, steady work of countless leaves, breathing moisture upward, stitching forests into the drama of the atmosphere above them. Some forests stay green even during the ice ages. During the Great Ice Ages, when glaciers covered much of the northern hemisphere, it might seem that forests would have disappeared entirely. Yet certain pockets endured in regions shielded from the worst cold, isolated groves of evergreen trees managed to survive even as ice pressed down from the poles. These refugia became sanctuaries of green in an otherwise frozen landscape. When the glaciers retreated, the surviving forests spread outward again, reseeding vast regions of Earth. Today, genetic studies of trees reveal clues to these ancient refugees, showing lineages that trace back tens of thousands of years. The persistence of these forests is why we still have so many species today. Without them, much of Earth's tree life might have vanished forever. They are proof that even in the harshest eras, life finds cracks to hold on, keeping a spark of green alive through the ice. There are fossilized forests beneath the Antarctic ice. Antarctica, now a realm of ice and snow, was once cloaked in forests. Over 200 million years ago, before the continent drifted into its frozen isolation, it lay closer to the equator, covered in towering trees. Fossil evidence reveals stumps, roots, and even whole petrified trunks preserved beneath layers of rock and ice. Some fossils suggest dense polar forests that endured months of continuous darkness each winter and constant daylight each summer. Today, scientists drill into Antarctic rocks and uncover remnants of this lost world. Impressions of leaves, fossilized wood, and traces of ancient soils. These discoveries show how dramatically Earth's climate and continents have shifted over time. To imagine forests where glaciers now stand is to glimpse a planet always in motion, reshaping itself across millions of years, where even the coldest, emptiest places once teemed with green life. The Amazon once flowed backwards, changing its forest forever. Today, the Amazon River flows eastward into the Atlantic, carrying more water than any other river on Earth. But millions of years ago, it flowed in the opposite direction, westward, into what is now the Pacific. Geological forces reshaped South America as the Andes Mountains rose and blocked the river's path. Over time, the Amazon's flow reversed, creating new floodplains, shifting ecosystems, and altering the forest forever. The reversal transformed how sediments and nutrients moved, feeding the soil that would nurture one of the richest ecosystems on Earth. It also created habitats where countless species evolved. Without that monumental shift, the Amazon rainforest as we know it would not exist. It's a reminder that even the mightiest rivers carving through continents are not fixed. They bend to the planet's deeper rhythms, and their change can give rise to entire worlds of life. Some forests are so wet, rain never reaches the ground. In certain rainforests, the canopy above is so thick, the rainfall rarely touches the soil. Instead, the upper layers of leaves and branches capture nearly all of it, holding the water in a suspended world high above the ground. Epiphytes, plants that grow on trees rather than in soil, thrive here, drawing their moisture straight from intercepted rain and mist. For smaller animals, this canopy becomes a home in itself, complete with streams, pools, and microhabitats that never see the forest floor. Scientists who climb into these upper levels often describe it as stepping into another ecosystem entirely, one that hovers above the main forest like a hidden continent. Down below, the soil may stay dry for days, even while storms rage above. These forests prove that rain doesn't always fall. Sometimes it's caught and cradled long before it ever touches the ground. Rainforests can create thunderstorms. Thunder rolling over a rainforest may not always come from distant weather systems. In places like the Amazon, the forest itself fuels the storms. Through evapotranspiration, trees release massive amounts of water vapor into the sky. This rising moisture forms thick clouds that grow heavy and unstable. By afternoon, the buildup often triggers thunderstorms complete with lightning and booming skies. These storms are part of a cycle. The rain they bring feeds the trees, which then release more vapor, keeping the pattern alive. The scale is staggering. The Amazon alone pumps billions of tons of water into the atmosphere each year, enough to sustain its own weather system. In this way, the rainforest acts not just as a receiver of climate, but as a maker of it, conjuring its own storms from the air and reminding us that forests can command the skies. Forests can create their own winds. Wind is usually thought of as a global force, shaped by ocean currents and atmospheric circulation, but forests, especially vast ones, can create their own. As the sun warms the canopy, hot air rises above it, pulling cooler air from surrounding areas inward. This creates small but steady breezes that circulate within and around the forest. In massive rainforests like the Amazon, these winds can even scale up, influencing regional weather patterns. Leaves also play a part. Their rough surfaces slow down passing air, creating turbulence that mixes and stirs. The result is a forest that doesn't just sit beneath the weather, but actively sculpts it, shaping the movement of air itself. Stand in a forest clearing and you might feel it. A gentle breath born not from the sea or sky, but from the living machinery of leaves and trunks around you. Tropical forests breathe out vast rivers of water vapor. Forests breathe not just oxygen and carbon dioxide, but water. Each day, a single large tropical tree can release hundreds of gallons of water vapor into the air. Multiply this by billions of trees, and you have atmospheric rivers flowing invisibly above the canopy. In the Amazon, these vapor streams are so immense they can stretch for thousands of miles, carrying moisture far beyond the forest itself. They help drive rainfall across South America and even influence weather in distant regions. This process is vital for agriculture and climate stability far outside the forest. Scientists sometimes describe the Amazon as a giant humidifier, pumping life-giving water into the sky. The trees rooted in the ground reach into the air as well, blurring the line between Earth and atmosphere. Their breath, though unseen, is one of the planet's most powerful forces. Certain forests release aerosols that seed distant clouds. When forests release water vapor, they also emit tiny particles called aerosols. These come from plant chemicals, soil organisms, and even microorganisms drifting on the breeze. In the sky, aerosols act as seeds around which water droplets can gather, forming clouds. Some of these clouds may eventually drift thousands of miles away before dropping their rain. In this sense, a forest's breath can help water land on other continents. For example, aerosols from the Amazon have been traced to influencing rainfall across the Atlantic Ocean. Scientists are still studying the exact chemistry, but the principle is clear. Forests extend their reach far beyond their borders. They don't just create rain for themselves, they play a hand in the water cycle of the world. Cloud by cloud, drop by drop, linking distant places through invisible threads of air. The smell of pine trees comes from chemicals that affect climate. That sharp, refreshing scent of pine on a cool day isn't just pleasant, it's chemistry at work. Pine trees release organic compounds called terpenes, which give the forest its distinct fragrance. But these molecules do more than smell nice. Once released into the air, terpenes can react with sunlight and other chemicals to form tiny particles that influence cloud formation. By changing the way sunlight interacts with the atmosphere, they can even help cool the climate slightly. In this way, the familiar smell of pine is tied to processes that ripple through the skies above. To breathe it in is to take part in a cycle that stretches from the soil to the atmosphere. From the comfort of a forest walk to the vast balance of Earth's climate system, it's a reminder that even scents can shape the world. Forests cool entire regions by several degrees. Step into a forest on a hot summer day and the difference is immediate. Shade is part of the reason, but forests cool the air in deeper ways. Through transpiration, trees release water vapor, which absorbs heat as it evaporates. This natural air conditioning can lower local temperatures by several degrees, creating microclimates that are crucial for plants, animals, and humans alike. On a larger scale, vast forests like the Amazon cool entire regions, influencing weather systems and stabilizing climates. Cities surrounded by forest often experience cooler conditions than those bordered by barren land. In a warming world, these cooling effects become more than pleasant. They're essential. Forests act as natural thermostats, regulating heat through their quiet, constant processes. Each rustling leaf contributes to the balance, making forests not only green havens, but living machines that ease the planet's fever. Forests help keep the poles frozen. It may seem strange to link tropical forests with the icy poles, but Earth's systems are deeply connected. Moisture and heat released from forests influence atmospheric circulation patterns that stretch across hemispheres. In turn, these patterns affect the stability of polar ice. Forests also store massive amounts of carbon, keeping greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere. Without this service, polar regions would warm much faster, hastening ice melt. Even the boreal forests close to the Arctic play a direct role, insulating permafrost and shading snow. The fate of the poles, then, is tied to the fate of the forests. What happens in the green belts of Earth ripples outward all the way to the frozen edges. Protecting forests helps protect ice, and by extension the oceans and coasts everywhere. The world is a web tug one strand, and the poles themselves can shiver. Forests influence global wind patterns. Forests do not simply stand still beneath the atmosphere, they actively shape its movements. As forests pump water vapor upward, they create pressure differences that drive winds across vast distances. This effect, called the biotic pump, is thought to help pull moist air inland from the oceans. Without it, many interior regions of continents might dry into deserts. Studies suggest that forests influence the circulation of air, not just locally, but globally, altering jet streams and storm paths. In this way, the swaying of leaves in one place can ripple into weather thousands of miles away. Winds that bring rain to farmlands or steer storms across oceans may owe part of their path to the silent work of trees. It is one of the clearest signs that forests are not passengers in Earth's climate, but pilots guiding the flow of air. Some trees release chemicals that affect human moods. If you've ever felt calmer walking among pines, there may be more than imagination at work. Many trees release airborne chemicals called phytoncides, natural compounds that help protect them from insects and disease. When humans breathe these in, studies suggest they can lower stress hormones, reduce blood pressure, and even boost immune activity. This is one reason why forest bathing, a practice that began in Japan, has become a recommended form of therapy. Inhaling the gentle scents of cedar, pine, or cypress isn't just pleasant, it changes body chemistry in measurable ways. Forest air then isn't only oxygen-rich. It carries subtle medicine. Trees defending themselves end up soothing us. The connection hints at how deeply intertwined human biology remains with the environments we evolved in, reminding us that forests are not just scenery, but quiet partners in our well-being. Forest sounds can reduce human stress hormones. Close your eyes in a forest and sound takes center stage. Wind brushing through leaves, birds calling, insects buzzing, water dripping from branches. Research shows that these natural soundscapes can measurably reduce cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. Unlike the unpredictable noise of traffic or machines, forest sounds are patterned and rhythmic, which the brain interprets as safe. This calming effect helps slow heart rate, deepen breathing, and shift the nervous system into a more relaxed state. Some hospitals even play forest recordings to aid patient recovery, and urban planners study how soundscaping might bring similar effects to cities, yet nothing compares to the real thing. The immersive, layered chorus of a living forest. Listening to it feels like resetting the mind, a reminder that the simplest medicine can be found not in silence, but in the voices of trees and the lives around them. Forests can change the color of the atmosphere. On a hazy summer afternoon, you might notice a bluish tint over the horizon when looking across a vast forest. That glow isn't an illusion, it's the atmosphere painted by trees. Forests, particularly those filled with pines, release organic compounds that scatter sunlight in specific ways. The scattering shifts the color of the air, giving it a faint blue cast. This effect is so pronounced in the Appalachian Mountains that they're nicknamed the Blue Ridge. What you're seeing is not just distance or haze, but the breath of trees, altering how light bends and spreads. It means that forests literally tint the air around them, changing the way we perceive landscapes. Every shimmering ridge, every misty horizon is shaped not just by rock and sky, but by countless leaves releasing invisible chemicals into the air. The nighttime forest sky can glow with invisible radiation. Step into a forest at night and the darkness may feel absolute. But above the canopy, the sky can glow faintly, not with visible light, but with radiation invisible to the human eye. Earth's atmosphere naturally emits faint bands of energy known as air glow, caused by chemical reactions high above. Forest regions often have less light pollution, making this glow more noticeable with sensitive instruments. To creatures like certain insects and nocturnal animals, these faint emissions may actually be visible, shaping how they navigate and behave. In this way, the night sky above a forest is never truly dark. It hums quietly with energy, a hidden glow that our eyes cannot see. For humans, it adds another layer of mystery to nights in the woods, that even in darkness, there is light flowing overhead just beyond our perception. Forest air is filled with microscopic particles from trees. Every breath you take in a forest is filled with more than oxygen. The air is thick with microscopic particles released by trees, droplets of water vapor, fragments of organic compounds, even spores and pollen. These particles act as invisible messengers of the forest, drifting upward to shape clouds or downward to settle into the soil. Some particles even serve as seeds for raindrops, meaning the very air above a forest helps determine when and where it rains. For humans, inhaling this air can feel fresher and lighter than urban air. In part, because of these natural aerosols, they help scrub pollution and give forests their distinct clean scent. To breathe forest air is to take in more than molecules of oxygen. It's to join the living cycle of particles, chemistry, and biology that make the forest a system far bigger than the trees alone. A single teaspoon of forest soil contains billions of organisms. Beneath the carpet of leaves and moss lies a universe so small we rarely think about it. Scoop up a teaspoon of forest soil and you are holding billions of microscopic organisms. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and tiny nematodes all thrive in the damp darkness, breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients. Many of these microbes are unknown to science. Their function is still a mystery, yet together they form the foundation of the forest's health, feeding trees, shaping soil, and defending roots against disease. Without them, the towering canopy above would collapse. In a way, a forest's greatest diversity is not in the birds overhead or the mammals roaming the floor, but in the unseen world beneath our feet. Every step across the soil is a step across an invisible galaxy of life, buzzing with activity too small to see yet crucial for everything we can. The forest floor breathes carbon in daily rhythms. Forests don't just breathe across seasons, they inhale and exhale on daily cycles. At night, when photosynthesis stops, the soil and roots release carbon dioxide, building up just above the forest floor. By day, sunlight powers the trees to take that carbon back in, lowering its concentration. This rhythmic inhale and exhale happens so reliably that scientists can measure time of day in a forest by carbon levels alone. In a sense, the entire ecosystem keeps a heartbeat tied to the sun. Each day is marked by pulses of breath. These daily shifts remind us that forests are not static backdrops, but dynamic living systems. The quiet breathing of soil and leaves, unseen but constant, is the soundless rhythm that underlies every rustle, call, and flicker of light beneath the canopy. Insects may outnumber leaves in some forests. Leaves seem endless in a forest, carpeting the canopy and littering the ground. Yet in some tropical forests, insects actually outnumber them. Ants march in armies of millions. Termites build towering mounds, and beetles of every shape and color scurry across bark and soil. Scientists estimate that a single hectare of rainforest can contain over 40,000 species of insects, with countless individuals hidden in every layer of the ecosystem. Many have not even been named or studied. This abundance of insects is not just background noise. They pollinate plants, recycle nutrients, and serve as food for countless other animals. Without insects, the forest would unravel. Their sheer numbers make them the true undercurrent of life, more numerous than leaves, buzzing and crawling in an unseen flood of motion that holds the whole ecosystem together. Some forest plants trap and eat insects. Forests are not only filled with insects, they are also home to plants that prey upon them. Carnivorous plants like pitcher plants and sundews lure insects with sweet scents or sticky surfaces. Once caught, the insects are digested with special enzymes, giving the plants a boost of nutrients they can't always get from the poor forest soil. In some tropical forests, pitcher plants grow large enough to catch not just flies, but frogs and even small mammals. These unusual strategies show how competition shapes survival. In the dense, shady understory where sunlight is scarce and soil is poor, plants adapt in strange and surprising ways. To see a plant feasting on an insect is to glimpse evolution's creativity. A reminder that even in the quietest corners of the forest, drama unfolds between hunter and hunted, leaf and wing. Forests harbor viruses we've never discovered. Deep within forest soils, in pools of water, and even inside the bodies of animals and insects, viruses thrive in numbers beyond imagination. Many of these viruses remain unknown to science. Some may play roles in regulating microbial populations, balancing ecosystems in ways we barely understand. Others might one day prove useful, carrying genetic tools that could inspire new medicines or technologies. Forests are reservoirs of genetic diversity, and viruses are part of that hidden archive. While some can cause disease, many exist quietly, interacting with their hosts without harm. Studying them is difficult because they often lie dormant or hidden. But the truth is clear. Forests are not only home to towering trees and colorful creatures, but also to invisible worlds of life that may shape the future of science. Beneath every leaf and root, unseen forces are at work. The canopy of a rainforest can be as dense as concrete. When you stand in a tropical rainforest, it's easy to feel how much light is filtered above you. The canopy, the interwoven layer of branches and leaves high overhead, can be so thick that less than 1% of sunlight reaches the forest floor. In some places, the canopy is nearly impenetrable, with overlapping foliage acting like a living ceiling. Scientists have compared its density to concrete because water and even falling objects often stop before they reach the ground. This shield protects the understory, keeping it cooler and more humid than the world above. It also means many plants and animals live their entire lives in the canopy, never descending to the soil. For them, the treetops are the true forest, complete with rivers of vines, platforms of branches, and a ceiling that is less sky than endless green architecture. Forest canopies can hold entire miniature worlds. High above the forest floor, a hidden realm thrives. In the canopy, mosses, orchids, and bromeliads cling to branches, creating tiny gardens that collect water in their leaves. These little pools become homes for frogs, insects, and even small crabs. Ant colonies tunnel through branches, while colorful birds and monkeys leap among the treetops. Scientists who climb into these aerial ecosystems often describe them as stepping into another planet. The canopy is so vast that it doubles the surface area of the forest, providing habitats layered above one another like stacked landscapes. For centuries, this world went unexplored, but modern canopy research has revealed it to be one of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth. It is a reminder that forests are not flat, but vertical, rising into the sky and holding as much life above the ground as below. Forest canopies contain more species than the forest floor. It might seem that most life is at ground level, but the opposite can be true in rainforests. The canopy teems with more species than the forest floor itself. Insects, birds, reptiles, and mammals all find food and shelter in the treetops. Many plants grow only in this layer, clinging to branches and never touching the soil. Scientists believe more than half of all rainforest species may live exclusively in the canopy. The diversity is so immense that each square meter of canopy could contain more life than an entire meadow elsewhere. Some researchers even call the canopy the real rainforest because it holds the majority of its creatures. For the animals and plants that thrive there, the canopy is a boundless city in the sky, busy, crowded, and rich with resources, while the ground below is just another distant layer seldom visited. Forest floors rarely see more than 1% of sunlight. Beneath the towering canopy, the forest floor lies in near constant shadow. In dense rainforests, only a fraction of sunlight makes it down through the leaves, often less than 1%. This dimness shapes everything that grows and lives there. Plants have to adapt to low light, spreading wide leaves to capture what little sun they can. Some bloom directly on trunks where light filters through gaps. The shadowy environment also makes the floor cooler and more humid, perfect for decomposers like fungi, termites, and beetles that recycle fallen material. For many animals, the darkness provides safety from predators, while for others it's a challenge, demanding keen senses of smell or hearing. The forest floor may feel quiet, but it is alive with motion, a shadowed stage where survival depends on thriving in the absence of light. Trees in dense forests may never see direct sunlight. In crowded forests, competition for sunlight is fierce. Some trees grow straight and fast, racing to reach the canopy before their neighbors. Others are less lucky. Entire generations of saplings may grow for decades in the shadow of larger trees, never once touched by direct sunlight. Instead, they survive on what little filtered light trickles through the canopy. Remarkably, many of these shade-tolerant species can wait patiently for years, even centuries. If an older tree falls and a patch of sunlight opens, the waiting sapling suddenly surges upward, seizing its chance. This patience is built into the life cycle of the forest, a constant, quiet contest for light. It means that even a fallen tree is not just an end, but an opportunity, unlocking growth for those that have waited their whole lives for the sun. Some forests are so dark they feel like night at noon. In certain rainforests, the canopy is so thick that the forest floor resembles twilight even at midday. Travelers describe these places as dim, hushed and otherworldly, where shadows stretch endlessly and colors fade into shades of green and gray. In this near-perpetual gloom, animals have evolved extraordinary adaptations. Some frogs and insects glow faintly to attract mates, while larger animals rely more on sound than sight to find food and navigate. The darkness also keeps temperatures cool and humidity high, which helps decomposition run at lightning speed. What feels mysterious to humans is simply normal to the life inside. For the creatures of the deep forest floor, noon and midnight can look nearly the same. Time itself seems slower here, hidden under the constant shade of leaves that never let the sun fully in. Some forests contain ancient human structures still hidden. Forests are not only homes to nature, they also hide traces of human history. In the Amazon, LiDAR scanning has revealed enormous ancient cities buried beneath the trees, complete with roads, canals, and pyramids. In Cambodia, the ruins of Angkor were long swallowed by jungle before being rediscovered. Dense forests can conceal stone temples, forgotten villages, and lost trade routes for centuries, sometimes millennia. Trees grow over walls, roots wrap through stairways, and moss covers carvings until they seem like part of the natural world. For archaeologists, forests are both guardians and obstacles, preserving ruins while keeping them hidden. Each new discovery reminds us that the boundaries between human history and wild nature are not as separate as they seem. Forests are not empty spaces. They are layered with the echoes of civilizations that once thrived among the trees. There are entire ecosystems in forest tree hollows. A hollow in the trunk of an old tree may look like a simple cavity, but to countless creatures, it is a world of its own. Rainwater collects inside, forming miniature ponds where insects, frogs, and even small crabs live. Birds nest in the sheltered cavities, while bats and squirrels find roosts safe from predators. Microbes thrive in the damp wood, recycling nutrients that seep into the water. In tropical forests, these tree holes can be abundant enough to sustain whole communities of species. Each hollow becomes a self-contained ecosystem, balancing life in miniature. They remind us that forests operate on every scale, from miles of canopy to pockets small enough to fit in your hand. Even the smallest crevice in a tree can pulse with life. A hidden world nested inside a larger one. Bamboo forests can grow taller than skyscrapers in just weeks. Bamboo is not a tree, but a grass. Yet, in forests where it dominates, it can outpace nearly any plant in growth. Certain bamboo species can grow almost a meter in a single day under the right conditions. Within weeks, shoots stretch upward, forming dense groves that tower like green skyscrapers. In Asia, bamboo forests are home to red pandas, golden monkeys, and the iconic giant panda, which feeds almost exclusively on bamboo shoots. Humans, too, rely heavily on bamboo, using it for construction, food, and even textiles. Its rapid growth makes it one of the most renewable resources on Earth. Walking through a bamboo forest feels unlike any other. The stalks rise straight and tall, creaking in the wind, creating a rhythmic, almost musical atmosphere. It's a reminder of the sheer power of life's speed when conditions are just right. Rainforest trees can flower directly on their trunks. In most forests, flowers sprout from branches high above. But in rainforests, many trees use a different strategy called cauliflory, producing flowers and fruits directly from their trunks. This allows animals like monkeys, bats, and rodents to reach and pollinate them more easily without needing to climb into the canopy. Some of the rainforest's most iconic plants, such as cacao trees, which give us chocolate, rely on this method. The trunks become decorated with clusters of blossoms or heavy fruits hanging like ornaments on a living pillar. It's an adaptation perfectly tuned to the dense vertical world of the forest. Cauliflory is a striking reminder that plants are endlessly inventive, shaping their forms to fit the creatures around them. In the rainforest, even the tree trunks are alive with blossoms, turning the forest floor into a garden as well. The Amazon's trees release more oxygen than all the world's grasslands. The Amazon rainforest is sometimes called the lungs of the earth. And while that phrase is a little simplified, it holds truth in one key way. The trees of the Amazon release more oxygen into the atmosphere than all the world's grasslands combined. Each day, billions of leaves photosynthesize, splitting carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen as a byproduct. Grasslands are vast too, but their smaller plants simply don't compare to the sheer scale of rainforest trees, some stretching hundreds of feet into the sky. This oxygen circulates around the planet, mixing into the air we all breathe. While much of it is used up again by plants, animals, and microbes in the forest itself, the Amazon's contribution is still immense. It is a reminder of how deeply our atmosphere is tied to the unseen daily work of trees, breathing in carbon and breathing out life. Forests provide the majority of Earth's oxygen exchange. It is easy to think of oceans as Earth's great oxygen producers, and they are. But forests play an equally critical role in the planet's oxygen exchange. Through photosynthesis, forests absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere. At the same time, the countless organisms that live in forests consume oxygen and release carbon back, creating a continuous cycle. Unlike fields or deserts, forests run this process at massive scales, with layer upon layer of leaves at work. While oxygen produced is balanced by consumption, forests act as stabilizers, keeping the cycle smooth and resilient. Without them, Earth's oxygen balance would falter with unpredictable results for every breathing creature. Each inhalation we take is supported not only by oceans and plankton, but by forests with their endless green machinery, converting sunlight into the air of life. Some trees store water in their trunks like living reservoirs. In certain forests, survival depends on being able to endure dry spells. Some trees have adapted by storing water directly inside their trunks. These natural reservoirs can hold thousands of liters, enough to sustain the tree through months of drought. Baobab trees in African forests are among the most famous examples, their swollen trunks capable of providing water to animals and even humans who cut into them. In tropical rainforests, other species also practice water storage, maintaining hidden reserves in their spongy wood. This adaptation helps stabilize entire ecosystems, ensuring that life can continue even when rains falter. To touch one of these trees is to touch a living well, quietly holding water within its fibers. In a way, they are both plants and guardians of water, embodying resilience in landscapes where thirst can be a constant threat. Forests store more fresh water than all the world's lakes. When we picture fresh water, we think of lakes and rivers, but forests hold more than both combined. Much of this water is hidden underground, stored in soil and aquifers that forests help replenish. Tree roots draw moisture upward, while canopies slow rainfall so it can seep gently into the ground instead of running off. In wetlands and peatlands, water is locked away in mosses and saturated soils for centuries. These hidden stores add up to a reservoir larger than all the world's lakes put together. This means forests are not only homes for wildlife, but also vital components of the global water cycle. Every drop of rain that filters through leaves and roots becomes part of a system that provides drinking water, irrigation, and stability for billions of people. Forests quietly are our greatest freshwater banks. Forests help shape the chemistry of the oceans. It may seem like forests and oceans are separate worlds, but they are tied through rivers. Nutrients washed from forest soils flow into streams which carry them to seas. This input feeds plankton blooms that form the base of marine food chains. Forests also influence how much carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater through their role in absorbing or releasing carbon into the atmosphere. Even airborne particles released by trees, called aerosols, can drift over the ocean, affecting cloud cover and rainfall patterns that regulate salinity. In this sense, forests help set the stage for ocean chemistry, balancing nutrients, acidity, and carbon cycles. To imagine forests and oceans as opposites misses the truth. They are partners, passing invisible messages back and forth. The health of the sea begins in part with the shade of trees and the soil of faraway forests. Trees in a forest can change the chemistry of rain. Rain falling through a forest canopy is not the same as rain that falls in an open field. As droplets brush against leaves and bark, they pick up chemicals released by the trees. These might include organic acids, sugars, or even antimicrobial compounds. When the rain reaches the ground, its chemistry has been altered, sometimes feeding soil microbes or inhibiting pathogens. This process is called throughfall, and it creates a unique water signature for each forest. Scientists studying rainfall under trees find that the nutrients in it can fertilize the forest floor, helping seedlings grow. Some species even release compounds that discourage competitors from sprouting nearby. In this way, trees don't just passively receive rain, they change it, flavoring the water that falls upon their roots. Each shower becomes not just weather, but part of the forest's own dialogue with itself. Some forest rivers turn black from leaf chemicals. In parts of the Amazon and other tropical forests, rivers can appear dark, almost like tea. This is not pollution, but the result of tannins, natural chemicals leached from fallen leaves and plant matter. As rainwater flows through soil rich in decaying vegetation, it absorbs these tannins, staining the rivers brown or nearly black. These blackwater rivers are low in nutrients, but high in clarity, often supporting unique ecosystems adapted to their chemistry. Fish, insects, and plants living in them are different from those in nearby whitewater or sediment rivers. The contrast creates a mosaic of aquatic habitats, each with its own web of life. Floating quietly on a blackwater river feels eerie and calm, as though the forest has dissolved itself into the water, painting it in the colors of leaves long fallen. Forest leaves may hold traces of distant ocean spray. It seems impossible that the sea could reach a forest deep inland, but it does. Tiny salt particles lifted from crashing waves can drift for hundreds or even thousands of miles on winds. Eventually, they settle on forest leaves, sometimes becoming part of the chemistry that trees absorb. Scientists analyzing leaf surfaces have found traces of ocean salt far from any coast. These particles may influence how leaves take in water or how they interact with sunlight. They can also serve as starting points for chemical reactions in the atmosphere above the forest. The connection is subtle but profound. Forests breathe not only their own local air, but also faint whispers from the sea. Every tree leaf may carry in microscopic form a reminder of waves that broke on distant shores. Leaves in a forest can change color without autumn. In temperate regions, we associate changing leaf colors with autumn. But in tropical forests, leaves can shift hues at any time of year. Young leaves often flush red or orange when they first emerge, a natural sunscreen protecting them from intense sunlight until they mature. Other species change color as a signal, perhaps to attract pollinators or warn insects away. In some forests, whole stretches of canopy can suddenly blaze with patches of red, yellow, or purple, even when there is no seasonal shift. This constant turnover of colors is one reason tropical forests look so vibrant and varied. The shifting palette is not about winter or fall, but about survival strategies woven into leaves themselves. The forest at any moment is alive with quiet bursts of color, as if reminding us that change is not bound to seasons. Forests influence the migration of global bird populations. For countless bird species, forests are not just homes, but waypoints on long journeys. Migratory birds use forest habitats as stopovers, resting and feeding during flights that can span continents. The availability of forest cover along these routes often determines whether a migration succeeds. Some forests provide fruit at just the right time of year, fueling flights across oceans or deserts. Others offer shelter from predators and storms. Even birds that do not live in forests year-round often depend on them for these crucial stages of their journeys. The result is that forests help shape the very patterns of global migration, guiding flocks across hemispheres. When forests vanish, entire migratory routes can collapse. To hear the chorus of birds in spring is to hear not just local voices, but travelers whose survival depends on forests far beyond our horizon. Forest elephants engineer the structure of African forests. In the Congo Basin, forest elephants play a role far larger than their size suggests. As they move through dense undergrowth, they trample pathways that open space for light to reach the forest floor. They feed on fruits and carry seeds in their stomachs, depositing them miles away in rich piles of fertilizer. Some seeds can only sprout after passing through an elephant's digestive system, making the animals essential gardeners of the forest. Over time, elephants shape the very architecture of the forest, influencing which trees dominate and how dense the canopy grows. Without them, some regions would grow choked with vegetation, while others might lose entire species of trees. Forest elephants are not just residents of the Congo. They are engineers, sculpting their environment in ways that ripple through entire ecosystems, proving that animals and trees are deeply intertwined in the tech building of forests. Some forests are maintained by bats and birds carrying seeds. Forests don't grow by themselves alone. They rely on countless helpers. Bats, for instance, feed on fruits at night, then drop seeds across wide distances as they fly. Birds do the same by eating berries and later scattering seeds in their droppings. These winged dispersers allow forests to expand far beyond the shadow of any one tree. In some regions, bats are responsible for the regeneration of more than 90% of new seedlings after disturbances like fires or logging. Birds too keep forests resilient by ensuring diversity spreads across landscapes. Without them, many forests would shrink and fragment, unable to reseed themselves effectively. Every flutter of wings in the night sky or every bird call at dawn is part of a much larger cycle. One where forests and their flying companions co-create the green expanses that define so much of Earth's life. Certain birds guide humans to honeycombs deep in forests. In parts of Africa, a remarkable partnership exists between people and birds known as greater honey guides. These small birds have evolved to lead humans directly to wild beehives hidden in dense forests. The bird calls to attract attention, then flies ahead, pausing along the way to keep humans following. Eventually, it leads them to honeycombs they might never have found on their own. Once humans break open the hive and collect honey, the birds feast on the wax and larvae left behind. It's a cooperative relationship stretching back thousands of years, one of the few known examples where wild animals and humans communicate intentionally for mutual benefit. For forest-dwelling communities, the honey guide is both helper and companion. Proof that the forest is a place not just of survival, but of surprising alliances that cross the boundaries between species. The Amazon contains more species than any other forest. No forest on Earth can match the Amazon in sheer diversity. Spanning over 5.12 million square kilometers, it is home to more than 16,000 tree species and countless animals, insects, and fungi. Scientists estimate that 1 in 10 known species on Earth lives there. Each layer of the forest adds another dimension. The canopy is alive with monkeys and birds. The understory holds jaguars and snakes, and the rivers teem with fish and dolphins. Even after centuries of exploration, new species are discovered regularly, from brightly colored frogs to entire groups of insects never seen before. This concentration of life is so great that a single square kilometer can contain more plant species than all of North America. The Amazon is not just a forest. It is Earth's grand archive of biodiversity. A living library still being read page by page. Some forests are so remote they remain almost completely unexplored. While satellites map nearly every corner of the globe, some forests are so vast, dense, and difficult to reach that humans have barely set foot in them. Parts of Papua and New Guinea, deep stretches of the Congo Basin, and isolated valleys of the Amazon remain largely untouched. Scientists suspect these places harbor thousands of undiscovered species, from insects to mammals. For local communities, they may be well known, but to the outside world, they are blank spaces on the map. The challenge of reaching them, swamps, thick canopies, or sheer remoteness, makes exploration daunting. These unexplored forests remind us that despite modern technology, Earth still holds pockets of mystery. In their depths, life continues on its own terms, unobserved, unmeasured, and unrecorded, just as it has for millions of years. Some forests grow on floating mats of vegetation. In river floodplains and wetlands, entire forests sometimes grow on mats of floating vegetation. These mats form when roots and soil interweave so tightly that they create a buoyant surface. Trees and shrubs then sprout on top, turning the mat into a drifting island of forest known as suds in Africa or floating meadows in South America. These ecosystems are constantly moving, carried by winds and currents. Animals adapt to them, with fish feeding on roots dangling into the water and birds nesting in the dense greenery. For humans, they can be both obstacles and wonders, blocking navigation but offering floating pastures. These forests blur the line between land and water, existing in a state of perpetual drift. To walk on one feels like stepping on soft ground that sways beneath your feet. A forest afloat, alive and wandering. There are forests growing beneath the ocean's surface. Forests are not limited to dry land. Under the sea, kelp forests stretch upward from the ocean floor, anchored by root-like holdfasts. These towering algae can grow more than 100 feet tall, forming dense underwater canopies where light filters through like in a terrestrial forest. Fish weave among the fronds, sea otters hunt for urchins, and seals dart through the green corridors. Like land forests, kelp forests create shade, shelter, and abundant food, making them among the most productive ecosystems on Earth. In places like California and Chile, they support fisheries and protect coastlines by damping waves. Though not made of trees, their structure and role mirror terrestrial forests so closely that they are considered oceanic equivalents. They remind us that the concept of a forest extends beyond soil, thriving even in the restless blue of the sea. Some forests rest on active volcano slopes. In countries like Indonesia, Japan, and Costa Rica, forests grow on the slopes of active volcanoes. These landscapes are precarious, fertile with volcanic soil, but threatened by eruptions, ashfall, and lava flows. The minerals released by past eruptions create some of the richest soils in the world, allowing lush forests to flourish. Plants colonize new lava flows quickly, sending roots into cracks and beginning the process of renewal. Animals follow, reclaiming the land even as danger lingers beneath their feet. Forests on volcanic slopes are symbols of resilience, showing how life not only recovers from disaster, but depends on it. Every eruption sets the stage for rebirth, cycling destruction into fertility. These forests are both fragile and fierce, forever rebuilding themselves at the edge of Earth's fire. The Black Forest inspired some of the world's darkest fairy tales. Germany's Black Forest is a place of towering pines, deep shadows and mist that clings to valleys. Its atmosphere has long stirred human imagination. The Brothers Grimm drew inspiration from its dense woods when recording folk tales, stories of witches, wolves, and children lost among trees. For centuries, the forest's gloom and isolation made it a backdrop for myths of danger and magic. Yet, the same forest is also filled with vibrant wildlife and picturesque villages, showing the contrast between human perception and ecological reality. What people saw as dark and forbidding was to the animals within it simply home. The Black Forest is a reminder that our relationship with forests is not only biological, but cultural. They shape our imaginations as much as our ecosystems, becoming theaters where fears and wonder take root side by side. Ancient forests have been preserved in stone for hundreds of millions of years. Long before humans walked the earth, forests flourished, and in some cases they left behind fossilized remains. Petrified forests found in places like Arizona, Argentina, and Antarctica are made of trees turned to stone over hundreds of millions of years. Minerals replace the organic material, preserving details down to the rings and bark textures. These stone forests reveal what Earth's ecosystems looked like in prehistoric eras, including species that no longer exist. Some fossils are so well preserved that scientists can study microscopic structures inside. Walking among them feels like wandering through time, where trunks lie frozen in mid-growth, silent and unchanging. They are reminders that forests are ancient, spanning epochs, their roots reaching not just into soil, but into the deep history of life itself. Forests are expanding in some parts of the world. Although deforestation is a global concern, not all forests are shrinking. In parts of Europe, North America, and even China, forests are actually expanding. This regrowth often happens when farmland is abandoned or when large-scale reforestation projects take root. In Europe, centuries-old farmland is slowly being reclaimed by trees. And in China, massive planting campaigns have added billions of new saplings to the landscape. These recovering forests may lack the complexity of ancient ones, but over time, they begin to attract wildlife, restore soils, and capture carbon. It is a hopeful reminder that ecosystems can recover if given the chance. Forests, though fragile, are also resilient. They can return where once they were cut, growing back into places where the sound of wind in branches has not been heard for generations. Some forests are growing where deserts once spread. Across parts of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, forests are beginning to sprout where barren lands once stretched. This transformation is often the result of intentional restoration efforts where humans plant trees to combat desertification. In places like northern China's Great Green Wall, millions of trees are being cultivated to halt the spread of the Gobi Desert. In the Sahel region of Africa, communities are planting native species that thrive in dry conditions, helping restore soil and bring back shade and water. Nature also plays a role as shifts in rainfall and climate create opportunities for regrowth. These new forests may not yet rival ancient rainforests, but they are living proof that deserts are not always destiny. With time and care, even the driest places can bloom with forests once again. The world's rarest forests exist only on tiny islands. Scattered across the oceans are islands where forests grow nowhere else on Earth. The cloud forests of Hawaii, the dragon blood tree groves of Socotra, and the palm forests of the Seychelles all exist in fragile isolation. These rare habitats are often filled with species found nowhere else, evolved in the isolation of their island homes. Because they are so limited in size, even small disturbances can have outsized impacts. A single storm, invasive species, or human settlement can reshape them dramatically. Yet, Their uniqueness makes them biological treasures, living museums of evolution's creativity. To walk among them is to see life that exists in no other place. Forests as rare and delicate as jewels, scattered across the vast ocean. The world's smallest forests can be just a few trees wide. Not all forests are vast expanses stretching across continents. In some places, a cluster of trees just a few dozen meters wide qualifies as a forest. These miniature forests can grow in valleys, along rivers, or on isolated hills. Despite their size, they often harbor surprising biodiversity. Small mammals, birds, and insects can thrive in these pockets of habitat, treating them as vital refugees in otherwise open landscapes. Scientists studying them have found that even the tiniest forests can help store carbon, regulate water, and protect soils. For nearby communities, they may provide shade, food, or cultural meaning. These small forests remind us that size is not everything. Even a handful of trees growing together can carry the spirit and function of a forest, proving that resilience and wonder exist at every scale. Some forests contain species found nowhere else. Isolation creates uniqueness. Forests separated by mountains, rivers, or oceans often harbor species that live in no other place on Earth. Madagascar's forests, for instance, contain lemurs and baobabs, unlike anything elsewhere. Australia's eucalyptus forests hold marsupials and birds that evolved in isolation. Even small patches of forest can shelter rare plants or insects that never spread beyond their boundaries. These species are often fragile, vulnerable to extinction if their habitats are lost. Yet their existence highlights the creativity of evolution, sculpting life to fit local conditions. Every forest is a stage for experiments millions of years in the making, many of which can only be seen in one corner of the planet. To step into such a forest is to enter a world unique to itself, with species that carry the story of place written in their very being. Forests can create their own weather forecasts. Forests are not passive when it comes to weather. They give clues about what is to come. Scientists studying forests have found that patterns in leaf chemistry, humidity, and even insect activity can signal changes in rainfall and temperature before they arrive. Indigenous communities around the world have long read these signs, knowing which bird calls or tree blooms mean storms are near. In a sense, forests forecast their own weather by responding to subtle shifts in the atmosphere. As trees release water vapor and chemicals, they influence cloud formation above, creating feedback loops that shape local weather. To walk through a forest is to enter a natural barometer where every sound, smell, and shimmer of leaves holds hints of tomorrow's skies. Forests at night can be louder than cities. When the sun sets, many forests do not fall silent. They come alive with sound. Frogs croak, insects hum, owls call, and mammals rustle in the underbrush. In tropical forests especially, the combined chorus of nocturnal creatures can surpass the volume of busy urban streets. Scientists recording soundscapes at night often find layers upon layers of calls, from low rumbles to high-pitched chirps, each occupying its own frequency like instruments in an orchestra. This nighttime chorus is not random noise. It is communication, competition, and survival playing out in sound. For humans, the effect can be overwhelming, even disorienting, a reminder that the forest never truly sleeps. Its voice simply shifts, moving from the bright chatter of daytime birds to the deep pulsing music of night. The soundscapes of forests change dramatically from dawn to night. From the first light of dawn to the stillness of midnight, forests move through sound cycles as rich as any symphony. Morning often begins with birdsong as countless species greet the sun. Insects take over as the day warms, their buzzing filling the air. Afternoon rains may bring a drumbeat of water on leaves, followed by the return of bird calls as storms pass. At dusk, frogs begin their chorus, soon joined by nocturnal mammals and insects. Each layer of life occupies its own time, its own rhythm, weaving a continuous soundtrack. Scientists studying these cycles find that the forest soundscapes are not random, but carefully partitioned. Each species adapts its timing to be heard without being drowned out. To listen across a full day is to hear the heartbeat of the forest, measured not in silence but in waves of sound. Forests sing with constant insect choruses. In many forests, insects are the true musicians. Cicadas, crickets, and countless other species produce constant choruses, creating a background hum that rises and falls like breathing. Some cicada species emerge in synchronized waves, filling entire landscapes with deafening song that can be heard miles away. Others sing nightly, their rhythms overlapping in complex patterns that scientists compare to music. These insect choruses serve important purposes, attracting mates, marking territory, or confusing predators. For humans, they become the defining sound of warm nights in the woods. While birds and mammals may come and go, insects keep the soundtrack steady, a ceaseless pulse that marks the life of the forest in vibration and hum. Without them, the forest would feel strangely empty, stripped of its constant living music. Some forests hold secrets of life's earliest evolution. Certain ancient forests preserve traces of Earth's evolutionary history. In Canada's Mistaken Point and other fossil-rich sites, imprints of primitive organisms appear in what were once forested or vegetated regions. Even today, untouched forests hold genetic lineages that stretch back hundreds of millions of years. Cycads, for example, often called living fossils, still grow in tropical forests, much as they did when dinosaurs roamed. These remnants link modern ecosystems to prehistoric ones, bridging the vast gulf of time. In their leaves, spores, and seeds are clues to how life diversified, adapted, and endured. Forests are not only alive in the present, they are archives of life's deep past, holding secrets that science is only beginning to unlock. The roots of some forests stretch for miles underground. Beneath a forest lies a hidden world as vast as the canopy above. Tree roots interlace with one another, creating sprawling networks that can stretch for miles. In places like mangrove forests, roots extend into rivers and seas, stabilizing the shoreline while reaching far underground to find nutrients. In temperate forests, roots often connect trees together, allowing them to share water and minerals. This underground web is strengthened by fungi, forming what scientists call the wood wide web. Through it, trees can send sugars, chemical signals, or even warnings of danger. It means a forest is not a collection of individuals, but a community connected by living threads underground. Though unseen, these roots are as vital as trunks or leaves, binding the forest together into one great organism that grows, communicates, and survives in unity. Some forest trees produce their own insect repellent. Forests are full of battles we barely notice. Many trees produce natural chemicals to deter insects from chewing their leaves. Eucalyptus trees, for example, release aromatic oils that repel pests and even inhibit competing plants. Pines ooze sticky resin that traps insects while releasing sharp scents that warn others. Some species adjust their defenses depending on the season or the scale of the attack. These natural repellents are so effective that humans often borrow them. Many essential oils and herbal remedies originate from forest trees. This quiet chemical warfare ensures that forests can endure despite the billions of hungry insects living among them. Every breeze that carries the scent of pine or eucalyptus is not just fragrance, but a shield, a living defense system built into the very fabric of the forest. Some trees defend each other from predators. Trees are not silent victims when grazed by animals. Studies in African savannas have shown that when giraffes start feeding on acacia leaves, the trees release chemicals into the air that drift downwind. Nearby acacias detect these signals and quickly increase the bitter tannins in their leaves, making them unappetizing. In this way, entire groves coordinate their defenses, protecting one another from overgrazing. It's a reminder that trees are not passive fixtures. They are active participants in their environment, capable of rapid responses to threats. This cooperation gives forests resilience, ensuring that predators like insects or herbivores cannot simply consume them unchecked. The forest behaves like a single organism, responding collectively to maintain balance and survival. Trees in a forest can heal each other. In some forests, trees seem to care for their neighbors. When a tree is damaged, nearby individuals sometimes send sugars and nutrients through underground root and fungal networks to sustain it. Even stumps with no leaves incapable of photosynthesis have been found alive for centuries, kept nourished by surrounding trees. Scientists suggest this sharing helps maintain forest stability, preserving root systems, stabilizing soil, and preventing gaps in the canopy. It suggests that forests prioritize collective health over individual survival. While helping may sound like human behavior, this flow of resources shows how interconnected trees truly are. A forest is not just a set of trees, it is a living community where survival is shared and where one tree's strength can become another's lifeline. Forests have been called the planet's lungs, but they do much more. Forests are often described as Earth's lungs because they absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Yet their role is far greater. Forests regulate rainfall, stabilize soils, cool the air, and support biodiversity on a staggering scale. They influence weather patterns across continents and shape the global carbon cycle. They provide food, medicine, and shelter for countless species, including humans. To call them lungs captures only one function, when in reality they are more like the heart, brain, and circulatory system combined. They keep the planet alive in ways far beyond breathing, serving as regulators of Earth's climate and stewards of life's diversity. Every forest is not just a collection of trees, but a planetary system in miniature, influencing the world far beyond its boundaries. Some trees can record centuries of climate change in their rings. Each year, a tree adds a new ring of growth. In dry years, the ring is narrow. In wet years, it grows wide. Over centuries, these rings create a precise record of climate history. By studying them, scientists can reconstruct rainfall, temperature, and even volcanic events that occurred long before human records. Some ancient trees hold more than 1,000 years of climate data inside their trunks. This science, called dendrochronology, allows us to understand how forests and the planet have responded to past changes. Trees are not only witnesses to time, but archivists storing memory in wood. Every trunk is a living timeline, carrying within it the secrets of Earth's shifting climate across generations. Forests influence Earth's climate more than we realize. The role of forests in the global climate extends beyond carbon. They release water vapor which rises and helps form clouds, cooling the planet by reflecting sunlight. Dark canopies absorb heat, while lighter forests reflect it. The chemicals trees emit clouds influencing rainfall thousands of miles away. The Amazon, for example, helps maintain weather patterns as far as North America. Cutting down forests not only releases stored carbon, but disrupts these climate systems. Forests are not passengers in Earth's climate journey. They are drivers, constantly shaping the balance of temperature, water, and atmosphere. Their influence stretches across continents, a quiet force holding the rhythms of the planet together. Forests may be cooling the planet more than we thought. Recent studies suggest forests play an even greater role in cooling Earth than once believed. Beyond absorbing carbon, their release of water vapor creates a natural air conditioning effect. This process, called evapotranspiration, can lower regional temperatures by several degrees. Forests also increase cloud cover, which reflects sunlight and helps prevent overheating. Together, these processes may offset more warming than scientists previously estimated. In a warming world, forests are not only victims of climate change, but vital allies against it. Each tree contributes to a global cooling system, one that works invisibly yet powerfully. The shade we feel under a tree is just a tiny glimpse of the planetary scale cooling forests provide every day. Every forest is both ancient and new at the same time. Forests are paradoxes of time. Some trees may be hundreds or even thousands of years old, while saplings spring up fresh each season. Soil beneath holds remnants of forests that existed millions of years ago, even as new seedlings prepare the canopy of tomorrow. In this way, every forest is both an archive and frontier, ancient in its roots, new in its shoots. When we walk among trees, we are moving through a continuum of time where generations overlap and life cycles blend. A forest is not frozen in history, but always in motion, holding the past while growing the future. This dual nature makes forests places where time itself feels layered, both eternal and fleeting at once. Forests still hide mysteries we have yet to discover. Despite centuries of study, forests remain full of secrets. New species of plants, insects and fungi are discovered each year, many hiding in plain sight. The way trees communicate, the role of fungi in shaping ecosystems, and the full impact of forests on climate are still only partly understood. Even the sheer number of species living in the Amazon or Congo is unknown. In many ways, forests are frontiers as mysterious as deep oceans or outer space. They hold questions about life, evolution and survival that science is only beginning to answer. Every step beneath their canopies is a step into the unknown, reminding us that even in familiar landscapes, mystery thrives. Some forests have trees that bleed red sap. In parts of Africa, South America, and Asia, certain trees release sap so vividly red it looks like blood. The most famous is the dragon blood tree, found on the island of Socotra, whose crimson resin has been used for medicine, dye, and ritual for thousands of years. When its bark is cut, a thick red liquid flows like a wound, giving the tree a mythic presence. Other species, such as some eucalyptus, also produce red-tinged sap. To ancient peoples, these trees seemed alive in a deeper way, as though their lifeblood was visible to the world. Today, scientists study the compounds in these resins, discovering antibacterial and protective properties. What looks strange or eerie is, in fact, a tree's way of sealing injuries and defending itself, a reminder that even in silence, forests bleed, heal, and endure. Some rainforest trees are taller than the Statue of Liberty. Deep in the Amazon, towering rainforest trees have been measured at over 80 meters, making them taller than the Statue of Liberty. These giants are often species like the Denizia excelsa, rising above the canopy where only a handful of trees reach such heights. Growing in isolation, they capture sunlight above the rest, serving as towering landmarks in a sea of green. Scientists believe they play a special role in shaping forest ecosystems, hosting entire communities of birds, insects, and epiphytes in their branches. Their size also allows them to store massive amounts of carbon, anchoring the forest's climate-regulating power. To stand beneath one is to feel the same awe as gazing at a skyscraper, except this one is alive, ancient, and rooted in the soil of the earth itself. The largest known tree by volume weighs more than a blue whale fleet. In California's Sierra Nevada stands the General Sherman tree, a giant sequoia that holds the title of the largest known tree by volume. Its trunk alone contains over 1,000 cub-m of wood, so massive that it outweighs dozens of blue whales combined. Yet despite its incredible size, the General Sherman is not the tallest tree, nor the oldest, showing that different records belong to different forest giants. Its immense volume is the result of thousands of years of steady growth, layer upon layer building into a monument of living tissue. Standing before it, humans appear like insects at the base of a mountain. This single tree is a forest unto itself, hosting mosses, birds, and insects, all dependent on the vast body of one living being that has stood for over 2 millennia. Bamboo can grow nearly a meter in a day. Among the fastest growing plants on Earth, bamboo is a marvel of speed and resilience. Some species can shoot upward almost a meter in a single day, a pace visible with the naked eye if observed closely. This rapid growth allows bamboo forests to regenerate quickly after harvest or disturbance, making them vital renewable resources in many parts of Asia and beyond. Bamboo's hollow, flexible structure gives it strength and elasticity, qualities humans have used for millennia in building, weaving, and even creating paper. In forests, bamboo provides shelter for countless animals, including the iconic giant panda. Its explosive growth also stabilizes soil and reduces erosion. Bamboo's speed is not just a curiosity, but a survival strategy, allowing it to compete for sunlight and space in dense, competitive ecosystems. Forests can change entire landscapes over millennia. Forests are not passive backdrops. Over time, they reshape the very land they grow on. Roots crack rocks, slowly grinding them into soil. Fallen leaves accumulate into thick layers of fertile ground, feeding generations of new growth. Forests capture rainfall and guide rivers, sometimes redirecting their flow entirely. In some regions like the Amazon basin, forests recycle their own water, creating conditions that maintain the landscape itself. Over thousands of years, forests have transformed barren volcanic slopes into lush ecosystems and carved fertile plains from once stony ground. These transformations happen so slowly, they are invisible to human eyes. Yet they mark one of nature's most powerful forces, life itself shaping the planet. The Amazon River was once a swampy forest. Before it became the massive river system we know today, the Amazon basin was largely a swampy inland forest. Around 10 million years ago, tectonic shifts and rising mountains blocked water from flowing eastward, creating vast wetlands filled with trees and wildlife. Fossil evidence suggests this swampy forest supported crocodiles the size of buses and giant turtles, alongside dense vegetation. Over millions of years, as the Andes continued to rise, the waters broke through, carving the path of the modern Amazon River. Yet even now, the forest retains memory of its swampy past in its floodplains and seasonal wetlands. The Amazon is not just a river with a forest around it. It is the product of forests and water shaping one another across deep time. Some forests are shaped by seasonal floods. In places like the Amazon and parts of Southeast Asia, forests flood regularly, sometimes rising by several meters for months at a time. Instead of drowning, the trees adapt. Some species grow hollow stems that allow them to breathe even underwater. Others develop roots designed to withstand long submersion. These flooded forests become seasonal havens for fish and aquatic animals, turning the landscape into a shifting blend of river and woodland. When waters recede, nutrients are left behind, fueling bursts of growth. To live here is to accept constant change, a rhythm of flood and drought where the forest itself becomes amphibious. These ecosystems reveal how flexible life can be, thriving in cycles that might seem impossible to endure. Forests once covered nearly the entire Earth, hundreds of millions of years ago, before deserts spread widely. And before ice caps formed, forests blanketed almost all of Earth's land surface. Vast swamps of giant ferns and trees dominated the Carboniferous period, creating the coal deposits we mine today. Later, coniferous forests stretched across ancient supercontinents, unbroken for thousands of miles. These global forests played a central role in shaping the planet's atmosphere, producing oxygen levels much higher than today and fueling the rise of giant insects and amphibians. Over time, climate shifts and continental drift fractured these expanses, creating the patchwork of ecosystems we know now. But the memory remains. Once Earth was almost entirely forest, a green world where trees were the rulers of the land. Forests will outlast most human structures. Cities, monuments, and highways often feel permanent, yet forests quietly remind us of time's true scale. Abandoned buildings are quickly reclaimed by trees, their roots breaking through concrete. Vines weaving through windows, branches shading collapsed walls. Even great structures from temples to fortresses eventually crumble under the steady patience of growth. Forests move slowly, but their persistence is unmatched. They have outlasted civilizations before and will likely outlast many of today's creations. Human structures measure permanence in centuries. Forests measure it in millennia. When left alone, they return, covering scars and erasing the traces of human presence. In the long story of Earth, forests endure not as monuments of stone, but as living, ever-renewing worlds. Forests remind us that life is both fragile and fierce. Forests can burn, wither, or vanish in a single generation, their fragility revealed in every clear-cut hillside. Yet they can also survive ice ages, storms, and the rise and fall of empires. Their resilience stretches across millions of years. This duality makes forests symbols of both vulnerability and strength. A seedling can be crushed underfoot, yet given time, it can grow into a towering giant. Entire forests can be leveled, and yet decades later, they may return green and humming with life. To walk among trees is to feel this paradox that life is delicate but also indomitable. Forests embody this truth, fragile in the moment, fierce in the long sweep of time. As we come to the end of our long journey through the forests of Earth, I hope you felt the calm of walking beneath their canopies, even if only in your imagination. From the tallest redwoods reaching skyward to the hidden fungal webs beneath our feet, to the stories of resilience carried in every ring of every tree, forests remind us how vast, intricate, and enduring life can be. They are at once fragile and fierce, ancient and new, mysterious and familiar. And while we may think of them as distant or wild, the truth is, forests are never far. Every breath of air, every sip of water, every heartbeat owes something to them. They are the living memory of our planet, and also its hope for the future. If you've enjoyed this journey, I'd be so grateful if you considered liking and subscribing to the Sleepy Science channel, or perhaps leaving a gentle thought down in the comments. Each gesture helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, there is nothing more you need to do. Just let your breathing soften, let your body feel heavier against the bed, and let the quiet presence of forests linger in your mind like a canopy of green that shelters you from the worries of the day. Sleep comes easily when we let go, so drift gently into rest. Tomorrow will wait. Tonight belongs to stillness. And when you wake, the forests and the next video will be waiting for you. Good night.